For this project, the main question I'm going to have to answer is, how do I fit this, this, and all of that into this. But before we get to that, I am actually going to have to figure out how to fit them into this. Yeah, so this is Project Shoebox. I'm going to get a GameCube and a projector in a box and make a portable setup. So, the plan for today is more or less prototyping. Before I put everything in the instrument case, I want to do a test run essentially, just to figure out how everything will fit in a small environment, as well as what could possibly go wrong, because with this, it's a cardboard box. Not a lot to worry about. But when I move over to this, I'm pretty much only going to have to one go at things, so I'd rather not run into unforeseen problems. For the prototyping at least, I picked up a bunch of Velcro at the dollar store. I'm using 2 of those already for the lighting. That's just Velcroed in place. The other thing I picked up at the dollar store is these. The self-adhesive labels. Pretty sure these are meant for shipping, but my plan is to just come up with a pattern I like to decorate the outside, put this in the printer, print it out, slap it on. You know, give it a bit of personality. So, when it comes to the actual project, I think for mounting I'll use the built-in mounts. So the GameCube has these 3, which are normally used for if you've got like a Game Boy player or something. And then the projector has this, which is just like a standard tripod mount. And then I'd have, since that's only one point of contact, I'll have to come up with a way to prevent it from spinning. But for now, we're just going with Velcro. This project is actually inspired by a different project I did. This thing. So what this is a Sega Genesis and a portable CRT television. I am quite happy with how this turned out, but I wouldn't describe it easily portable. The 2 main issues with it are, 1, it's heavy, and 2, it's frickin' massive. So it's going to be more of a travel setup and less like portable plug and play. Additionally, you also have to take everything out of the case and get it set up. So, that's something I want to adjust with this. I want to have everything ready to go in the case. You just have to plug in the power and hit go. So, just gonna fold that back. You know what? That'll act as a nice little weight for now. So, the plan is to have the projector roughly around here, at least for prototyping. Cut a hole so that it can actually project. So the hole would be cut there, then have the GameCube around here, and then holes cut roughly around there for access to the controller boards. In the final phase, I'm going to try to come up with a bit of a sleeker solution so there's not as many holes, more protection from the environment. But for now, I just want to see how this works. Oh yeah, so I guess a bit of backstory. This isn't my primary GameCube. And the reason I'm not using my primary GameCube for this is it has a Game Boy player. So that just makes it taller and harder to fit into confined space. This is actually one I picked up without the cords, and I've done it before, so I figured I'd just get the cords needed to get it going, make sure it's working, and then either give it as a gift to a friend or just resell it once it's actually in working order. But at that time, I was working on the portable Genesis in a case, and I saw a listing for a mini projector on Facebook Marketplace. Anyway, now we're here. There were actually a couple of mini projectors listed locally. There's two reasons I got this one. One, the person actually responded to my message. And two, it supports 480i, that's via HDMI, but its native resolution is 800 by 480, which I believe is pretty close to what the GameCube outputs. But you might have noticed something. There is not any RCA inputs. And you can't exactly plug this directly into the projector, which is where this comes in. This is just an adapter from RCA to aux. And funny thing, there's two different kinds where basically I believe these two can be switched. So I couldn't find any information, so I just ordered one online for like $5 and hoped it was correct. It was. Alright. Velcro strip number 1. There. Velcro strip number 2. There. And to make sure these actually line up, I'm just gonna stick them together. Peel off the back and just press that into the box. Alright. That's in. Solid enough. Next, let's put the projector in there. And then for the projector, I'll actually get everything hooked up, project an image, just so I have a rough idea of where I need a cut. Alright, let's try this again without knocking the camera off the counter. So I don't want to put too deep, but basically I'm just gonna, this is a rough test, so I'm just gonna look for above, try to line up the corners, go across, go down. Once I've got that, should be fairly straightforward. I'd say that's eyeballed pretty good. And if I was actually going to do something like this for the general setup, which I'm not, I'd have a cover that just velcros over that. So larger piece, just, and that would come off again. But I actually found a proper case, so we're going to be using that. Yeah, my plan, if I couldn't find the case, was literally just to use a shoebox. That's why I'm calling this project Shoebox. There we go. So, as you can see, there is a very blurry image being projected onto that. So, I'm just going to go with the edges of where I think that blurry image are, cut that out, and then when I actually have the proper distance to project, we'll see what that actually looks like. Close cut. And we have light. I'm currently projecting onto myself. Alright. So, bit out of focus, can we adjust that? No, still too close. I've put the wrong, right, back it up, that getting slightly more in focus. Yeah, close enough. So, everything's now in the box. Got that at the front, that at the back. I put a little bit of Velcro on this there to help hold the lid closed. And, well, there wasn't a lot of room to make everything nice and clean, but it is very simple to plug in from here. Right. Then once you're plugged in, just have to hit the power button on both. And I assume that is a very blurry GameCube home menu. So, let's discuss the system as it is. So, I'd say this is very much portable. You can carry a shoebox around, and it weighs about as much as a GameCube in a small projector. Aside from that, a couple of downsides. One, once you've got all the cable stuffed in there, not really a lot of space to put a game, and you're definitely going to have to carry the controllers separately, which could be a bit annoying if, say, you've got two because you want to be able to play multiplayer. But, hey, I'm going to assume in that case you probably have a backpack. That would fit nicely. So, now that we know that that's working, let's hop over to the computer and get some designs printed. Well, I guess made first and then printed. When it came to designing the logo, I kept it fairly simple. Found an image of the GameCube logo online that was in vector format, downloaded that, copied it over to a canvas the size of a printer paper, turned it into something I thought would actually show up in grayscale nicely, added some text, and then it was time to figure out how to print this. Right, got the design saved as a PDF, so time to flip which side of these is the one that goes. Guess we're about to find out. Which side of this is adhesive and which side gets printed on? Yeah, screw it. If this doesn't work, I'll just stick it back in, flip it around. So, after accidentally printing out that on the wrong side of the page, printed out on the correct side, so nice little GameCube logo on the top. And a nice little design for the removable cover over that. If I was actually going to stick with this as a portable setup, I'd actually be fairly happy with it. Even given some of the space limitations on the interior. But eventually, like I said, I'm going to switch over to this thing. Just need to iron out a few last things. And then should hopefully have room for the GameCube, the projector, 2 controllers, all the cords, and a game or two. But first, let me clear everything off and let's see how this thing works. So, don't really have a good wall to do this on, so instead I'm going to be projecting onto the kitchen cupboards. So I've just got the Project Shoebox set down here, a couple of controllers of the game, and let's see how quick this is to set up. Release the Velcro latch. I'm also doing this one-handed, which slight disadvantage, but we'll take it. Alright. First cord, and I might want to eventually include an extension cord with this, just because distance to an outlet. GameCube cord. I'm sure that's fine. Out. Then plug that in. Remove the first cover. Remove the second cover. Struggle to open game case one-handed. Memory card in the slot. Game in, close. Controller Go. Alright, controller in. Wires just like that. Power. Actually, now we'll be missing the best part if I do that. Alright, that's projected. Alright, let's get that no signal into focus. Alright, now I'm just going to set this down over here to get a view. Alright, there we go. Okay, so this is with all the lights on, which I think is a bit darker in here than some areas, but I think this is a decent comparison for an environment if you're just out and about. But now, I'm going to go close the blinds and kill the lights and see what this actually would look like if, say, you brought it over to a friend's house where you could actually control it. That looks pretty good. Let's just start. There we go. Okay. I just want to get to the cantina so I can actually see the borders of the screen a bit clearer. Alright, that'll do. Now, I just want to test. So let's focus that in as close as it'll be. Now push this table forward until it's in focus. Alright, so I'm going to go grab that tape measure again quickly. Alright, so the minimum distance you'll need to be from the wall with this is around a little over 3 feet. And at that distance, you have a 26-inch screen. So that's pretty neat, but I'm going to be limited in how far I can back this up because couch. But I think the screen goes up to, it's rated for a maximum of like 100 inches in size, is what it says on the box. Not sure I'd go all the way there, just because, at least if you're in a bright area, because it's going to be a bit hard to see. But if you're at a friend's house, I see no idea why you can't just start blasting. To test this, one day I took it down with me to campus, and in between classes I set it up in an empty study room and played Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee until my next class. Worked pretty well. I did carry everything down in my backpack, including the shoebox, but that's more because the weather forecast wasn't giving me a straight answer on whether or not it was going to rain, and as I previously mentioned, cardboard is not the most water-resistant material. Right, so you've got something called Project Shoebox, and you've successfully put a GameCube into a shoebox. Explain to me again why this is going to be a two-part thing. Well, I am actually very happy with how this has turned out, and I'm going to leave this as is and probably use it for a few months while I sort out the rest. I feel like it might be good to put a portable setup in something that's a little more, let's say, water resistant than cardboard. So, for those of you who weren't paying attention at the start, this is an instrument case. I bought it from an antique shop my friend works at when I went there to visit him. Which is funny because I'd spent like a month and a half looking for something like this beforehand. So, what this will allow me to do is have everything inside. This is all roughly mapped out to approximate size. So, in addition to the GameCube and Projector, I'll also be able to store 2 controllers in it. And then there's enough room vertically to have a game on top of the GameCube. As for access to plug stuff in, still need to figure that out. I figure I'll probably have the back of the GameCube over here spaced a bit so I can wrap the cords around. So you just plug the controllers and memory cards in the front, and there'll be a space here once you take the controllers out. Then, I'm going to drill a hole roughly around there. So you can have the projector go out, don't need to take anything out of the box, and then probably going to put a dust cover on the outside, and maybe a piece of acrylic plexiglass or just something clear that'll prevent stuff from getting inside the case. And I still need to sort out what I'm going to do for the power cables. But, hey, if you want to do something roughly simple and get yourself a portable GameCube setup, find yourself a GameCube, find yourself a mini projector, get some Velcro from the dollar store, and get started. Because this, if I do say myself, is a pretty good start. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you for watching. I think this turned out a lot better than my last project. I'm definitely getting a bit more comfortable with camera work and editing for in-person, but as always, I still would appreciate any feedback if you have it. Preferably a little more than just, it's shit. I mean, I can try to extrapolate from there, but yeah, just a bit more detail than that if you do want to help me out. Otherwise, as I said, I've done a project like this before. You could check it out. That's the Genesis in a case. Otherwise, just some items at the end here. I am actually quite happy with how this video turned out. The camera works better. I'm still not 100% with the quality, so I actually ended up getting a proper camera for the next time, as well as I do plan to show hardware a bit more, both in actual gaming videos when I'm doing older stuff, as well as with projects like this. I actually wanted to look good. Oh yeah, also got a tripod because, one, I knocked my phone off the counter when I was filming this one, and also I figure it'll probably look better if it's not shaking all the time. So, anyway, thank you again for watching, and until next time, I guess interactions exist.